Yeah, just asking.
Okay. I suppose I
Oh,
bring the microphone
Whoa,
closer to
feedback.
my. Sorry about that.
all right.
A little closer to my mouth.
We're only live now. It's fine.
Oh my.
Why, hello, and welcome to issue 683 of Geek in the City Radio. I am one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Bina Rita.
And I'm your other host, Cable Hashitani.
What's shaking, everybody?
We sound great.
We do sound great.
I don't know. It was just like very pleasing.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, are you hearing something that I'm not?
No, I'm saying we
I
sound
am.
great.
Hold on. Everyone get really quiet. I'm also hearing the fluorescent lights because I have a crazy brain. Crazy brain.
I think you were picking up the latent sarcasm that underlies everything that Denise says, even when she's not being sarcastic.
That is true. I think I just default to that response.
Yeah.
So I
It's
not
a
only
trauma,
have
it's a trauma response.
I not only have resting bitch face, I have resting bitch voice.
I didn't say that.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I have a mean voice. Ask my dog.
What? Does your dog ever hear your happy voice?
I didn't say that either. So, I don't see sarcasm as either mean or bitchy. It can be, but it is not inherently.
I am used to it being interpreted that way. I've unintentionally made people cry.
Do you think you do it
with my sarcasm?
What is your ratio to
unintentionally
made people cry and intentionally made people cry?
Yeah.
Is it like a 2-to-1?
Processing.
Is it a 10-to-1?
No. You know what? Honestly, I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've intentionally wanted to make someone cry.
Okay.
And trust me, they deserved it.
I'm sure they did. I don't doubt that at all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if I don't have sarcasm voice, I have direct voice, which is always interpreted as angry voice.
Yeah.
I don't know what I have. Cable, sometimes your voice comes across to me as disappointed voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a subcategory.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It is a subcategory of Do you feel like I'm disappointed in you, Aaron?
No.
Okay, that's good, because
No.
I'm not disappointed in you.
No.
I don't think I've ever been disappointed in you.
Oh. I'll work on that.
You've tried. You have tried multiple times over the
Really?
years. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And yet, my reaction is still to be supportive and build you up, because
Man,
you are.
Wish you were my dad.
You're the best at tearing yourself down.
That's true.
So
Yes.
someone has to counter that.
That's right. You're the best, Daniel. You're the best.
I actually had a conversation with a coworker about that's a role I take with one of my other coworkers, because I watch others like tear them down. It's like, nope, I'm gonna have to pick dad role.
Oh, right.
Aaron, are you eyeballing my?
I'm trying to see what you were drinking. I saw
it's-
yuzu.
I'm going to assume it's delicious. It's a Shimai Toshi Brewing Company Yuzu Hard Seltzer, purchased here at the Guardian Games studio in the back of the Guardian Games Superstore.
Is this still called the Critical Sip?
No, it's just referred to as the bar.
Okay.
In 2019, when the store was purchased, they kind of did away with all of the
Fun names for all the spaces.
Yeah. I get it, sort of.
They were cheeky, and I'll miss them mildly.
Sure.
Only mildly.
Oh, sorry, I can't share this with anyone. Maybe you two once the cameras are off.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
So I'm doing I have approved a project that will require like props and models, and this person just sent me like part of the model that a person will wear for this project.
Okay.
And it's kind of fucking mind blowing.
Cool.
This thing's actually happening. Well, that's cool.
That is neat.
Super sweet.
Woo!
Yeah.
I think.
What about
Yeah,
what's
but-
happening right here? What are we doing today?
Today, well, we're gonna get back into.
How was that? Was that a good segue?
That was an
I'm
excellent
very
segue.
loud.
Does it ruin the good segue when I bring up the
disagree.
fact that this is when I ask if this is a good segue? And then
Yes.
stutter
Yes,
through that?
you're breaking the. It's not the fourth wall. What is that when you're?
It
like-
is still technically
It's
the
still
fourth
the fourth
wall.
wall.
Is
yeah.
it okay?
It's just audio.
Whether it is literal or figurative or metaphorical,
That's
it's
true.
always the fourth wall.
Don't literally break any of the walls. We
Oh,
we
yeah.
need the little soundproofing we have.
Yes.
So yeah, we are going to be doing 2 episodes of season 3 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. In fact, the first 2 of season 3.
Yes.
Correct.
But also, we're going to talk about. I feel like Geek and City Radio does this about every 5 years. It goes through like a format change because I don't know. We get bored, you get kind of stale, and you want to do something different.
Pandemics happen.
So yeah, we're moving to an all live erotica reading show. We're gonna start with the story that Bean wrote. So she's gonna give you a little teaser about it right now.
The thing that you have to know is that the character that I'm going to voice sounds like this. Oh yeah, that's so hot.
And
I cannot improvise.
I was really hoping
and
you
in
were gonna be like,
response,
"Give it to me."
the character that I will be portraying sounds a lot more like this.
I'm just gonna use my dulcet tones. Oh no!
Oh yeah, that's it. Give it to me, baby. Peg me like that. Oh yeah.
Right there.
Aaron is now regretting that he brought this up as a
I
bit.
know. I was like, this will be a funny bit. And it won't
Yeah.
all throw me off the rails.
Yeah. Mhm. You're welcome.
Oh man, it makes me miss that Keela and I never got to do Dos Sexies and Nestle Snipes erotic radio hour.
I mean, never say never.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is not what we're doing.
So yeah, I hope
Oh.
that like we didn't set you guys up for
Oh.
disappointment,
I know.
listeners.
Everybody, put your pants back on. Relax. Or don't. I don't care.
I'm not putting
Uh,
my pants back on.
Good. So yeah, we're gonna try to have at least an interview every month, I believe.
Yeah.
And we've done this before, and you guys all really seem to like it. We're gonna bring back live gaming,
Woo!
where once a month we will pick a different board game or card game. We will play it live on the air. Like, I don't think it's spoilers to say we will be playing the 2nd edition of Illimet next week. Right?
We may do that the week after because
week
next
after.
week,
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought maybe we were going to have them at the same time.
I don't know that we can do that. It's a lot.
Well, either
Yes,
way.
because Illimat is a little bit complicated for people who aren't familiar with it, and
Mhm.
so like you have to do a lot of talking and explaining the first go around.
Mhm.
And not to say that this is like, I mean, it'll be new for you because you missed
Yeah,
it
that's
on
why
the
I
previous
thought-
iteration.
That's why I thought we were combining it since we are having Keith and Jen.
Remotely.
Oh, remotely.
Right.
Right.
There you go.
Till we get that extra mic situation.
Yes.
I'm working on it.
yeah.
But I think it makes more sense to do them separately just from a timing standpoint.
get
that
it,
way, Keith and Jen can go on as long as they need to, and then the game can take as long as it
Yes.
needs to.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, at
With-
least once a month we'll be playing a game.
Mhm.
And we all kind of miss reviewing comics. It just got really hard to do on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're going to do now, roughly the last show of every month, we're going to do our own comics roundup for that month. What you read, what news stories maybe kind of caught your eye, what's coming out that you want to highlight. So
Or maybe what's been sitting on our reading table for,
sure.
I don't
yeah.
know.
Ooh boy.
Like I finally sat down yesterday and read all 3 books back to back of Astoria.
Oh, okay, right.
Judas Priest.
Were you bawling?
There was one line in book 2 that I read and I teared up and almost started crying and had to put the book down for a
Ooh.
minute.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to think about what.
Oh, it was something Hippolyta said, and I'm just like, nope, need a minute. I'm gonna get up, stretch my legs.
Hmm.
But yeah, like we miss comics,
Yeah,
And-
we really do.
and like that's what most of mine is going to be. It's going to be a lot of backlog of stuff that I'm like, you should read this because by now it's in trade.
That had not occurred to me. I do have a lot of unread comics at my house,
Mhm.
and this maybe this will be the kick in the ass I need to actually start reading them again.
Yeah, I think the only two books that I managed to keep on top of is Usagi and Something is Killing the Children.
Ooh, that's on my wish list.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But there are others that now I want to like sit down, just chew up, and then bring to the table. And I love the fact that we're going to be able to do that every month.
Yeah, that's gonna be really cool. And you know, it'll get me to start reading comics again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said this before, like the more you work in comics, the less you get to read of them.
Right.
So
It's much like working in gaming.
sure, yeah. You don't get to try any of the new games really, or play new games.
Oddly enough, I think I'm the one staff member of Guardian Games that plays games the least. I think all of my coworkers play games all the goddamn time.
Well, the kids are more social than the olds.
They are. It's also I'm not used to having free time.
Free time.
You know, like
No,
this is
I know exactly like what you mean by like in this exact example. My nephew over the holidays like learned that I have a Switch, and they convinced me to download the new Pokemon game. We would like play together essentially. And then once the holidays were over and everyone went back to their respective states, they wanted to still play together. And so every now and then we'll get together on like Discord or now he has his own phone. So he calls me and then I bust open my Pokemon and he'll be like, how far have you gotten? I'm like, dude, I don't even remember the last time I played this game. I do remember it was the last time that he and I had spoken on the phone and played Switch together. Yeah, I'm just like, I don't really make time for video games the way a 12-year-old might.
Sure.
For me, it's the fact that I went from I had 40 hours of work, 20 to 30 hours for a gallery, podcasting, any number of other weird events that I did to I went to work.
Right.
And I sometimes am at home on weekends like, what am I supposed to do? And America's like, you're supposed to relax.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing that you have not done for years. So
yeah, I'm really bad at that also.
No.
Like that, I know, shocking, right?
I think everyone in this room is. We kind of
and I will
congregate
begin to feel
together.
guilty.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the middle of the day and I've I've caught up on all my emails, I got some good writing in and like whatever, and all of a sudden I find myself being like, I have like 2 hours. I really don't have anything to do. I'll go look for work instead of like, I'll watch a movie I haven't seen yet, or maybe I'll make some candles for fun, or maybe I'll take another shot at making my own like little things. I like, maybe I'll go back to working on my Lego Galaxy Explorer. I don't do any of that. I just start to pace like a caged lion throughout the house trying to find something to do.
My problem is a little bit different. I definitely get enough rest. I very deeply value like my restful times, but or like me time, but I'm not using that time in the ways that I would most enjoy, like working on a craft or a project or my books or my games. No, I'm watching stupid shows and like dicking around on my phone, or like on the weekends I like to lie in. I wake up pretty close to the same time as weekdays, but I lie in and I'm having my coffee, maybe the news is playing, and I'm just dicking around on my phone. Catching up on the week's TikToks or some shit.
I found that I end up disassociating with my phone as a response to, you're not relaxing, so I'm just going to shut off. My brain just goes, fuck you.
That might be what it is.
It is like that. I think that's why people end up disassociating, because they aren't listening to the fact that they need to rest and relax and do something enjoyable.
Right.
Yep.
Certainly not cleaning my house. I know that much.
Isn't your house like in cell mode now, though? Is it ever even dirty anymore?
It's not ready yet. It's not on.
Oh.
It's not for sale yet. So it is still quite dirty. It's just a lot more empty than it usually is,
Oh, okay.
which makes it look cleaner, but
Just
it's not
like you.
less filthy.
A dirty, empty soul.
Wow, dude. Damn.
It's pretty good. You can
That was
save that
mean. Oof.
Holy shit, dude.
Did that disappoint you, Cable?
No.
Oh, damn, it's right.
All right. Well, while Aaron dies off mic,
Yeah, I realized that setting forth the format of what's going on, that's like 3 things, and there's usually 4 to 5 weeks in a month. We like to still leave some room for, these people want to pop in, or this
Mhm.
thing happened and we should talk about that.
yeah, I guess we should say, like, essentially, those are our goals: is to do at least one of each of these things in each month.
Yep.
Yes.
That's as formulaic as we've managed to get with it. Especially because, with the live format, like if the really exciting guest can only do the third Wednesday, well, then that's when it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Lemon.
It's Tuesday, Lemon.
It is Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we've got some good interviews lined up. Just waiting for them to respond.
Yep. Well, I mean, the first one that we will have for this month, like we said, is Keith Baker and
That's
Jen
true.
Ellis,
Mhm.
who are the working couple of Together Studios, TWO, Together, that created such games as Illimat and Gloom. And
The Adventure Zone series.
the Adventure. Oh, my God. Oh.
I keep forgetting about that game. The Adventure Zone series that they did.
Yeah, they need to get it back in stock.
Oh, okay.
Like their attention has been focused on production for Illimat 2nd edition. They've also got a bunch of other things coming down the pipeline. So
Well, hopefully they can tell us more about that.
they'll be able to tell us some, but not everything.
Okay.
When I go around-
which will be fun.
I think around Halloween last year, Keith Baker, through DM's Guild, released an actual like Eberron Ravenloft domain.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Never got around to getting it, but he spent some time on that. Like it was like a big book kind of thing.
I think it's appropriate that the last time that we implemented Let's Do Games live, yes, that when we kicked that off, the first month that we did that was with Keith Baker.
Was that our first?
Our first one was
way back in
Keith Baker.
2019?
No, it was 2020. It was January 2020.
Before the world ended.
We did it January 2020 and February 2020, and then March happened.
Oh, and we went complete remote.
Yeah.
Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like March we played at your home.
That was the year before.
Oh.
That was 2019.
I was gonna say, yeah, I was conflating it with, because we used to do games sometimes,
Right.
but that wasn't our.
This was,
monthly-
yeah. In 2020, it was official that, like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to do a game a month. And we reached out to Keith. He brought on Cthulhu Gloom. We played that on air. It was a lot of fun.
You won.
I beat him. I love telling customers, like, this is Gloom. This is how you play this game. Keith Baker is a local. I have literally beaten Keith at his own game.
That's awesome.
I get the impression, though, like, I got to tell Jen that story, and she's like, I don't know if you know how competitive Keith is. So we might get asked for a rematch on that.
Oh man.
Anyway, but there's we did that, and then in February, the day that we did it, you were out, but we had Indigo Kelly come in.
Oh, that's
and we
right.
sat and we played King of Tokyo.
That's right.
Yep. Those are the
Nice.
2 games, because the game that I had picked next was is a kind of Star Trek inspired game called The Captain is Dead. Which
I
is
remember.
it's
planning that.
it's a cooperative game where you're on the bridge of a starship and the captain has died and you're trying to save the ship.
Is that the one where you're all yelling at the same time?
No,
that's Space Team.
That's
Yeah.
Space Team. Okay.
which is
I'm glad
not
we both
actually-
knew that.
Woo! We need to work on our high fives.
We do.
Yeah, the space team isn't Star Trek themed. It's just
It's
I
just
mean,
yelling.
I mean, it might as well be because they've got like the reverse coupler wand, whatever. Yeah, like made up names, like wonky tools.
Yeah,
space
hand me the
tools.
spanner. Hand me the hydro spanner.
Remember, you can always reverse the polarity. Whatever you're doing, reverse the polarity.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, so that's still on the board if we want to play that. But
I think we should. I think we owe it to the captain who gave his life for us
So that
to
we can-
not play the game.
yeah, that was.
Wait, so is the Captain is Dead isn't Star Trek themed?
It is Star Trek inspired.
Oh, inspired.
It's not actually Star Trek.
Okay, I was
Space
confused
Team
again.
is the one you were thinking of with the shouting. That one is not Star Trek
right.
based
Or inspired.
that we know of.
It feels a lot more Galaxy Quest inspired.
Okay, which is fine.
Yeah, you know what? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I
Because
just
of all
remember
the shouting.
a couple times I played it. That was a Space Team,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a blast.
It is a lot of fun, and it's
It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
it's a like a card based tabletop game, but there is also an app nowadays,
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
which is
Okay.
even more frantic and stressful.
I have
So
to
much
remember
fun.
Just like life.
that. Yay!
So yeah, that's what we've got coming up.
I think it'll be pretty good. It's gonna be a lot of
That
fun.
should also help our listeners if they are like, hey, you know what, this book came out. If you've all read this, we'd love to hear about it in your comic roundup to see what your thoughts on it were.
Right.
Yeah,
Or-
totally.
Or I just played this really great game. It plays really short and it does this. I think you guys would love it. Throw those recommendations our way.
Definitely.
Yeah, totally.
Probably not like Settlers though, right? Like no one needs us to play Settlers of Catan or anything. Right? That's
Yeah, I'm not playing Settlers of Catan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not playing Ticket to Ride. I'm not playing Azul.
Right.
These are all fine, great
Really
games, fantastic games. I already know that I don't like them.
and also they've like hella been done. They've there's no shortage of reviews or live
Yeah.
plays of those.
Yeah,
games.
Does
I'm just-
Catan ever slow down in terms of moving units?
Is what?
Does Catan, has it ever slowed down in terms of moving units?
You know what fascinates me is it has not.
That's what I mean.
Like we still go through like a dozen Catan a week.
A
I-
dozen.
right?
I don't understand it.
When
Are they? Is someone eating them?
I was under the impression that it was, hello, welcome to Portland. Thank you for moving here. Here's your McMinimans card.
Your McMiniman's beer
Yeah,
passport.
your McMinimans punch card. Your I hate Starbucks sticker,
Uh-huh.
and your copy of Catan that no one's going to play with you.
Yeah, even when I ran a TFA, I went through 5 a week, and we were not a comic book shop. It was ridiculous.
But I can actually tell you how much Catan we go through.
Yeah, the person that was always annoying thing about TFA is the managers aren't allowed to place the orders on their own. They have to go through somebody else who hadn't understand retail in 20 years.
Someone else within TFA, but
Yeah.
who is not a store manager.
Correct. Hadn't set foot in a store in over 2 decades. But was
That
maybe
that seems good and
but was
smart.
maybe related to the brother of the owner, so they were able to keep their job, allegedly. Well, they weren't allegedly driving out to Madras with scratch and dent hot toys and allegedly selling them for alleged weed. All allegedly,
Okay.
unproven.
Okay.
Yeah, they never understood why I was always placing orders for Catan. I was like, because they sell out. I was like, if I ever don't have a copy and someone asks for it, they just leave and they don't come back. So I don't ever want to run out.
Okay, so
But when they do come to buy it and you have it and they buy it, do they come back then?
Yeah, you become a trusted retailer then. Yeah.
I'm gonna hurt your brain.
Oh God.
I mean,
All right.
let's do it.
So the point of sale that we use currently at Guardian. We we implemented it starting in November of 2020. From November of 2020 to now, we have sold the number of copies of Catan we have sold
Just the core game.
averages a copy of Catan every other day for 2 years.
Just the store.
Yep.
And just the core game.
Yep.
Yeah, that hurts my brain.
365.
Right.
I'm like, what if the population of this?
That's an
city
entire. That's one a year. This is over a 2-year period, so that's one every other day. One copy of Catan every other day for 2 years.
Someone's eating them.
What the hell?
I mean,
We've already sold 3 this week.
Every bar.
It's
has
Tuesday. Every bar has one.
Every bar has
Yeah.
one. If it's a board game bar or they have games, they're gonna have it.
Yeah, this is what like games fascinate me. Like who buys what and why just fascinates me. We have the giant 3-dimensional.
I've seen that. That is cool looking.
It's great. There's also a Seafarers and Cities and Knights 3D edition that goes with it.
I've never seen the 3D one. So I need
Oh
to
my
find
God,
it.
have you not?
It is cool looking.
It is.
I've also never played it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time I might have gotten around to it, it was.
I
I'm
mean-
like, no one gave a shit anymore. So.
Sure.
Well, clearly
no one
that's
around.
not true
No one.
because
No one I know.
Right.
Are you buying a copy
No.
of Settlers of Catan every other day?
No, I have one.
So the Settlers of Catan, the 3D edition, it came out in August 2021, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
This is a $300 item. This is a big ticket item.
It's been a year and a
Everyone
half.
already has Catan, right?
Mhm.
Sorry, I meant to hit my mute button and I hit funky music. I'm sorry.
So we've still sold 13 copies. One of them a month ago.
I mean, this one has only been out about a year and a half, so that's less.
But what I mean,
mind-boggling.
it's also a $300 version of Catan. It doesn't do anything. It's just 3-dimensional pieces. There's no other change to it.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's all the childless dual income nerd households that are about in this town.
I'm one of those. I don't have a copy of this. I don't want a copy of this.
Other nerds.
Oh, okay.
Nerds legally distinct from you and I.
Right.
No, I cannot account for this much buying of the game. I mean, it takes like a million years to play one game, doesn't it? Isn't it like an all-day thing?
Oh no.
No?
It's not an all-day thing. It's if it takes you all day to play Catan, you are playing with some rule lawyer motherfuckers.
Okay.
The game that takes all day to play is Twilight Imperium.
Oh, I don't know anything about that game.
Oh my god. Okay, so Twilight Imperium is space politics. It is almost space politics in real time. An average game of Twilight Imperium is 8 hours.
Oh my god, look how huge this
I don't know
is.
that includes setup.
Is that Twilight Imperium?
See? He knew. Yeah.
The only one I know that can take, this is not counting like Axis and Allies, because those are old school war games. The only one I know that can take a long time, if you let it by using expansions, is Arkham Horror.
Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, Elder Sign, and Mansions of Madness are all designed to be minimum 2-hour games. They're usually 4 to 5 hours.
Right. Well, I thought that, what's the card one? Eldritch Horror? That one's meant to be the fastest in like an hour.
Elder Sign is actually...
Then I might be thinking of Elder
Yeah,
Sign.
Elder Sign is the smallest box.
Okay.
Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror are both 2 to 4 hours. Mansions of Madness requires an app, which they developed so that someone could stop being the DM for the game, essentially.
Right.
But yeah, that is also like a 2 to 4 hour game.
Yeah, I heard now the app for Mansions even helps you with setup.
Yep.
Like what to do.
Yep.
Because some of those games, even that is like a daunting task of setting up.
Yeah, and that's why it's hard to get people to the table for those things. Like anytime game setup takes up to an hour,
right,
you've immediately kind of like, it doesn't take an hour to set up Ticket to Ride.
No, you just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fold out the board, you hand everybody color trains, and you start building your railroad. Which is why everyone loves playing it, because they can sit down and play a game and be done with it and move on with their lives. The people who go nuts over games are the ones that want to sit down, spend 40 minutes putting together the board, and then get everyone else to the table to play the game. The rookie mistake is getting everyone to come over, sit down for the game, and then you start setting it up once everyone's there. You don't do that. Do not do that.
Have it ready.
If you, yeah, especially if you have people over. I remember the first and only time I played Dead of Winter. Dead of Winter is a massive time suck for time setup.
Okay.
It's a zombie survival game.
Right. I've seen it, but I've never played it.
Yeah, and you can play it with a trader mechanic in it, so that one player may be doing something underhanded. Everybody has a secret agenda as well as a public agenda, but one of them might be to actually undermine the camp. The friend who was putting this on, I went over to their house. They already had it on the table. Everything was all set up. They had suggested roles for people, so it made just sitting down and playing the game so much easier. It's honestly what influenced how I like to play Betrayal at House on the Hill. Because it's like, I will run the game. I don't have to play it. I don't need to be sitting and being one of the players. I will stand there and walk you through the rules so that you can just play. I will set things up. I know where things are. I'm fine DMing the game because it's much more enjoyable for me to watch how the players interact with each other.
Sure.
Well, and it makes it smoother for the gameplay and less frustrating at times. Like whenever there's like a question about the mechanics, or like, you know, whether or not this breaks the rules or is in line with the rules, it kind of brings everything to a halt. You lose time just trying to decide can I or can I not do this, and having an arbiter there at the table kind of keeps things going and mitigates those frustrations.
And considering my personality type is definitely more administrative, it's like I enjoy that, because then I get to see people's interactions and I get to see how things work and help them work through it.
Right.
Versus games like Star Trek Attack Wing, where I'm totally fine. Like, I want to be a participant. I can't roll dice to save myself, but oh man, that game! I love that game, and it frustrates me so much.
Yeah, I wish it got as much like company support as the Star Wars one does.
I wish I knew what went on at WizKids. I really do.
That they're just like, it's Trek. Because WizKids doesn't do, is that Fantasy Flight?
Fantasy Flight does Star Wars.
Right.
And
Although I heard they lost the role-playing license. Is it a weird...
They didn't lose the role-playing license. They opted not to make role-playing games anymore.
Okay.
And the people that made their role-playing games went, well, can we still do it if we just go over here and be someone else?
Yeah.
And Fantasy Flight went, well, yeah, sure. Here's all the licenses. Really? Even this one? Well, no, that one you have to go ask Disney. Okay, fine. But everything else? Yeah. So a company called Edge Studios.
That's it. Yeah.
Took the Genesis and all Genesis related systems, and that includes Legend of the Five Rings, Terranoth, and Star Wars. They had to get Disney's approval on Star Wars, but they are presently republishing all of the collected works
Right.
from that. So when you start seeing them they're just now coming out. So when you see them on the store or on the shelf at the store that you go to, it will not say Fantasy Flight anymore. It says Edge Studios on the spine.
Okay.
The thing that they are behind on, like the books have been coming out for the past couple months, and it's great, and it's nice to have them back on the shelf again. Genesis related systems require a specific set of dice that is not a polyhedral set. It is not a classic polyhedral set.
They're 10-siders, right?
They're not 10-sided dice either. They are proprietary dice.
Oh.
It is a proprietary dice set, and I don't know when they're coming out.
What shape are they?
Yes.
Oh wait, they don't know?
They're a polyhedral set, but they're not a classic polyhedral set. So there's like 4 D12s, but they don't have numbers. They have icons. There's like 2 D6s. There's a 2 D8s. Like they're really weird.
I kind of want them to be like sexy dice, where like each
You know,
each
that would
side-
I'd be fine with sexy dice.
I don't mean that they are sexy dice, but in that same way where they're like, this dice is the action and this die is the body parts. So you're like, lick your elbow.
Right.
They don't always come out super sexy. Right? So like yeah, like actions and descriptions and I don't know. This just seems like an idea that
So it is just like how it was in the Star Wars game and Attack Wing to an extent.
Yeah.
That they have symbols. So there's 12-sided dice. There are 8-sided, but there's no numbers on them. There's
right.
Symbols and
Yep. And it's the same stuff this is the same dice set that they use for any Genesis system. Genesis is their nondescript role-playing game. It's their GURPS, essentially. It's like, here's our role-playing system. Now you can put this on it or do this.
Sure.
It's like Cypher System or oh crap, what's that one?
Well, there's Savage Worlds.
There's Savage Worlds, Fate. There's another one. It came out now.
I don't understand the logic of creating a game that needs proprietary dice. It feels like just shooting yourself in the foot.
I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I'm
like.
As long as someone's willing to buy it, that is the point, because they're going to make more money off of the dice.
Yep.
Sure.
It's very much the same model with Games Workshop. They do as many things as they can that can be proprietary, that so that they can make sure they lock in that copyright and only they can do the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like
But they've kind of got the lock on it. It's not like, well, I guess there are other war miniature games you could choose from.
They are the D&D of tabletop miniature games.
Yeah. When you mention miniature gaming, they'll say Warhammer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Warhammer and miniature gamings are like synonymous. Even though I never really got it. I think the only one I came close to was what is it? Catalyst system. It had a role Iron Kingdoms. Iron Kingdoms war game.
Iron Kingdoms is War Machine.
War Machine, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the difference between those games. Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Age of Sigmar are both mass army games, where you usually play what's called 2,000 point games. And that refers to the number of points that you have to build your army up to, which when you're playing 2,000 points, that's usually like, I've got 20 of these guys and 6 of this and 15 snipers and this tank.
Right.
I kind of always assumed that Warhammer was like a dorkier version of Risk. Because isn't that what Risk is? Like when you have like a big map and all your little dualies and you
Nope.
push your guys out.
Nope.
Like a sand table, like a tactical sand table.
Risk comes down to its area control.
Right, but how does that play out on the board? It's not little meeple that indicate soldier numbers.
Yes, Warhammer is each figure is its own figure. It has its like, so if I've got 50 different figures on the table
Mm-hmm.
and it's my turn, I have to decide what each of those 50 miniatures do
Mm-hmm.
to my opponent's 50 miniatures. And then after I decide what's that and that happens, then they get to do the same thing. And then 3 hours later, we've done that 3 times. And one of us is won and one of us is lost. It like, I don't, Warhammer takes like 4 turns total, but
they're
those turns
long.
take an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you're moving each of these individual things. War Machine, and so there's Warhammer and Age of Sigmar. Warhammer is science fiction, Age of Sigmar is fantasy. They are massive.
Right.
War Machine and Hordes are
They're more like skirmish games, right?
they are skirmish games where you have a leader of your team and about a dozen underlings. So turns take less time because there's only so many units. You've got your 12 guys versus their 12 guys. And sometimes you may go, our object is who can hold on to this for 2 turns. Cool.
Yeah.
Or who can take out the other person's team captain. Warhammer has developed skirmish games. They have the skirmish game for 40K is Kill Team, and for Age of Sigmar is Warcry. It's instead of massive army, it's skirmish. It's a small gang.
Gotcha.
And then they have even smaller versions of both. I think it's Necromunda for 40K and Underworlds for Sigmar, which are both essentially played on. They're almost like traditional board games, where you've got about 6 pieces on a board, a regular game board.
Huh.
Minis games. This is why minis games are so inscrutable to people. It's like, this looks neat. How the fuck do you play it?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those had a different style, and I never would have guessed that. I would
Yeah.
just assume they were all kind of the same idea.
And this is yeah. That's why game store employees exist, because we have to know this stuff, because you don't get this when you go buy it online.
No.
Right.
I do wish I'd have gotten. I heard it was a good game, but like it didn't get enough support from Games Workshop. Was that Dreadfleet game? It was kind of a self-contained, like fantasy pirate monsters.
Yeah, every so often they throw something out there and they try to do something, and if the Warhammer crowd doesn't go for it, then it fails.
Then they bury it.
Yeah. They tried to do that with planes a couple of years ago.
Was it their aces or wings?
It was Aeronautica, I think.
Okay.
Warhammer, like 40K Aeronautica. They were really cool space planes. No one wanted to play it. No one cared. I think
no blood for the blood god with those games.
No, there's not. It may also seem strange that we've devolved into a conversation about Warhammer.
Not really.
I guarantee you, this is information that our listeners and everyone else is going to want to know about in 2 years when the Warhammer television series hits Amazon.
Yeah, starring Henry
Cavill.
Right. That's a thing that is happening.
It is.
Oh yeah, it's happened.
He's been Warhammer's biggest, most public celebrity supporter.
And what's funny is he doesn't really play it. He
Um,
likes to collect and paint the minis, and he gets really into the lore. He talks about how he loves
the
lore and the history, because there's like organized play that has an ongoing story.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
Which when you get into the lore, and a lot of those books there are hundreds of 40K novels. A couple of them are written by very well-known comic book writers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andy Lanning is one of them.
I think so.
But the lore behind 40K, it happens to be the thing that I'm like, it looks cool. I don't want to play it. And the lore, it's because of the lore. The lore of 40K is there are no good guys in 40K.
No. everyone's a bastard to one extent or another.
Yep.
And Norm says, yeah, I've met some very fashy Warhammer 40K folks.
Yeah, that's always
That comes with a lot of miniature gamers, though, I've noticed.
Yes. That is the ugly side of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
I am happy about the fact that the community in Portland, especially the more obvious you are about the fact that you're really into war games, because in your head, this is how you would have played out how the Nazis would have won World War II. You get booted really fucking fast.
Right.
Which is good. I don't think that happens with the worldwide 40K community, but I do know that Portland has zero, like, not zero tolerance, but they have a low tolerance for bullshit.
Yeah, and Games Workshop has come out and has tried hard, but it's one of those things like it's out of the bottle kind of things, you know. And the imagery of 40K leans into it really easily too.
Oh yeah. I think on 40K's website that they actually had a letter that talked about the fact that it's like, look, our game is fantasy. This is fantasy. It's dark fantasy. There are horrible things that happen. In real life, if you think this, fuck off.
Right.
Don't play our game. We don't want you. If you were a fascist, we don't want you in our community.
Yeah.
Well, that's something at least.
Yeah.
And they've tried to do a role-playing game, and there is a role-playing game.
There is.
It just, I've never known anyone who plays it. I tried their space one a few years ago. It was like, what, Dread Trader?
Rogue Trader.
Rogue Trader.
Yep.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
It was crunchy as hell, though.
Yeah.
But it was like, what if you're a Star Wars smuggler, but way darker? Like darker than like, and bleak than like The Expanse in terms of like how bleak shit is out in space.
I'm now slightly afraid that we've sent Bean down the wormhole or down the rabbit hole of 40K.
No, I just told y'all like all of the different hobbies that I'm not participating in. I just go home and doom scroll. What I was curious and hoping to find out is why 40K? Not 30, not 50, 40K.
30K is there is 30K.
Oh, damn, you've ruined my joke.
Sorry.
No, I do want to understand.
Yeah. I didn't know it was 30K either.
There is, because they make models and have a story that's part of the storyline of what happened 10,000 years before the events of 40K. And that was the Horus Heresy, and there's that storyline. I don't know why they picked 40K, but they did.
I'm sure they had their reasons. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it does look interesting. You know, the fact that they have all of this lore around it, but I don't think I need to play space war game.
I think
I'm all good on the war gaming.
I think it's important to know about it. Again, if you're going to get into mini gaming, which I'm into, it is good to know as much as you can about Warhammer, because the Warhammer's existence influences all other mini games, whether they want it to or not.
Right.
Because you either struggle to be as different as you possibly can be from Warhammer, or you just turn right into it and it's like, oh no, we just copied Warhammer.
Right. Hence, it's the D&D of tabletop mini.
It's the D&D of tabletop mini games.
Yeah.
It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Right.
And it wants its banana. It just does. I will say that I'll be interested to see how this plays out this year. The whole thing that went on with the Wizards of the Coast and the leak about the OGL and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And then having pushback from the people who buy D&D, that was like, oh,
yeah,
we're canceling we're going to take that money away from you.
I think the canceling of your D&D Beyond subscription probably had the greatest influence. Not that I'm not going to see the movie, I'm not going to do this, or I'm virtue tweeting. Like,
yeah,
no,
that does nothing.
That does nothing.
Canceling
your subscription,
yeah, Yeah,
was
that
tangible numbers that they could go like, see, we told you.
it produced tangible numbers that apparently one of the other board members went, fucking fix this.
Mhm.
So news just came out like 2 hours ago. I think I read on Polygon. The head of Wizards has now like basically said like that decision was made in a boardroom where we were not invited to.
Yeah,
Mm.
There was no
No kidding.
I know. I was telling people that. I was like, it's Hasbro, you guys. Well, Wizards just part. I was like, you don't know how the corporate world works. Like,
nope.
Hasbro-
Wizards had no say in that
no
whatsoever.
say, none. And Hasbro could give a shit about the role playing side.
Right.
They want to sell toys, minis, t-shirts.
Wizards is not blameless about things.
No.
I still want to have a long conversation with them about Magic the Gathering, but
where the real money is made.
But but that whole thing about how the fan reaction helped change that, apparently in customers of Games Workshop who produces Warhammer 40K, they all started taking notice on message boards and went, wait, you can do that? You can get companies to stop doing shit?
Uh-oh.
I'm like, oh right, I keep forgetting. Every Warhammer player, every single one of them, every time Games Workshop makes a change they dislike or raises prices in such a way that is clearly price gouging, they all go, oh man, Games Workshop is raising their prices again. This sucks. Here's my money. Every time they complain about it and then they fork over all of their money. It's like, what are you doing? So they're now looking at this going, you mean we could have not given them our money and maybe they would have changed how they did things? It's like, yes.
Yeah, and I remember.
Welcome to collective bargaining.
Right. I do remember this happened a while ago when 3D printing was just starting. Like someone was able to get a hold of the 3D models of a lot of Warhammer and just put them online for free. And Games Workshop nullified that entire line. They're like, storyline's dead. Books are dead. We will not support it.
Yep.
You're going to do this.
Yeah, they really.
And do they still have the rule that they have to be a separate section of a game store?
Probably.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not allowed to put any other miniature games in the same like aisle.
They think very highly of themselves, don't they?
They do.
And for the longest time, they were the only game in town, unless you played super nerdy like Napoleonic Wars with cardboard cutouts or lead figures that were passed down from like my great uncle Bob used to play Waterloo in the basement.
Yeah.
And again, that's not the same as playing Risk.
It's not, no.
No.
Okay. Just really don't understand Risk, apparently.
Risk is just resource management.
Yep.
And getting Papua New Guinea and building it up and building it up, building it up, building it up.
I've played Risk
When he
once.
was a kid.
I played Risk once in my 20s with two guys that really loved playing it. And that game went on far too long for my taste. I think while the three of us were playing, we played for like an hour and a half. And once I was out, it took them 20 minutes to finish up the game. Mostly they were angry that they could not figure out what my strategy was the entire game. It's like, oh, I didn't have one. I was just having fun pissing both of you off. And so I've never played Risk since because I'm like, I don't like this. There's nothing about this that interests me.
I've no reference to the game has ever made it sound appealing. I don't think I have ever known anyone who likes it. So I've just gone my whole life.
It's a word game.
I believe, like Monopoly, Risk's original intentions are not how it's played now. I believe it was developed for people to build strategy, but also to a reminder of like, maybe war is dumb and it's never ending, and we should.
Here are the real costs of war.
Yeah. They did make one called like Godsend, like a Risk game with like dealing with like the Greek gods. And that was all. I remember that was cool because if like some of your armies died, or you would intentionally let them die, because conquering Hades was also a territory that you wanted.
Aha.
Oh, is it Godstorm?
Yes,
Godstorm.
Godstorm.
I will credit Risk for changing the Euro board game landscape, though, because Risk was the first legacy game.
Oh,
Risk,
that's right.
there's Risk.
Really?
Yeah, they came out with Risk Legacy, and that was the first legacy game where you played this game, and then that changed how you played your next game, and then your next game, and your next game. The first Euro style board game to do that was Pandemic.
Yeah.
And that opened the floodgates for all of the current legacy games.
Someday I'll play Betrayal Legacy.
Someday.
Right?
Someday. Because I know when you're done, you have an all new version of Betrayal in the House on the Hill built on the stories you told before.
Yep.
Bitchin'.
Yeah.
I also have a box that's still in the plastic.
And I'm probably going to buy the 3rd edition, especially because Cable shared me the expansion that looks fucking righteous.
So that expansion was supposed to have been out last October.
Whoops.
That tracks. That makes sense considering how it looks. That's very much
They revealed it at Gen Con.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why we got it last week with no fanfare.
Well, it's just how like all the shit with the OGL. I feel
Yeah.
really bad. Really put a stamper in the Golden Keys to the Golden Vault adventure coming out.
Yeah,
Like
that comes out on the 21st, by the way.
Oh, I want a copy because I get to do Ocean's 11 and D&D, which anyone who knows me knows.
Yeah, that one.
I love.
I need that box.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
The blood on the moon.
Blood on the moon.
Oh!
Wolf Den.
what fascinates me about the box art, and then we'll go back to the Golden Keys, and then we can talk about Avatar.
Yeah, we'll have to take a quick break because we've got half hour left.
Like it's games. We like talking about games.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
So the design work on Blood on the Moon, 100% in the style of the alt art covers for a lot of the D&D books. Like it matches the same kind of alt cover that they did for Wild Beyond the Witchlight or Xanathar's Guide to the Everything. Like it's gorgeous.
It has the vibe of like a special printing of a book.
Yeah. The box itself is supposed to represent a book that is an in-game object.
Nice.
Because the Blood on the Moon as a Betrayal expansion for 3rd edition adds a 7th character to the game. 5 scenarios that are specific to that character. So I think once you put it like the way that 3rd edition is set up, you have to select an overall theme.
Kind of like the Scooby-Doo version.
Exactly like the Scooby-Doo version.
Mm.
That was the major change. That was one of the major changes that they did. Like the major changes the changes in both Baldur's Gate and Mystery Mansion were implemented as part of 3rd edition.
Right.
So those are the changes of 3rd edition. Yeah, I'm planning on teaching staff. Like I'm going to do a game night with the staff here at Guardian, where it's like, here are all the versions of Betrayal, and here's how you play them.
Right.
That
That'd be
sounds fun.
cool.
That sounds like a fun day.
But yeah, Keys to the Golden Vault also. I'm actually I'm jazzed about it. And I know it's a pseudo blatant tie into the movie, but okay, fine.
So what? Who cares?
Both are just drawing from old D&D lore, so
Yeah.
quit complaining.
It's got a Quizit on the cover.
Yeah, unless you get the alt cover, which is a really cool looking golden locking mechanism.
Do you want the alt cover?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll put you down.
But
Take a break?
it's basically, really quick. It's basically like one shots, which means I can grab a
nice.
couple from there. I can grab a couple from Candlekeep Mysteries, jump around in the Radiant Citadel. Like they're all like one shot adventures that, I'm excited. I think it'd be fun.
Nice.
Oh, Bex is 2 chapters into Legacy, but the Legacy version
I
of
saw that.
Betrayal.
Yeah.
You'll have to tell us. Well, not too much. Don't ruin it. But you have to tell us how you like it.
I am envious of Bex an awful lot. So I find myself envious of them once again.
That's fair.
So yeah, let's take a break and come back with Avatar. Hey, and we're back.
Yay.
Actually, you guys need to vamp a little bit.
Okay.
Don't be, I'm boring. I don't believe that for a second.
No, Bex, you're interesting. Well, I'm not going to put your business out there, but you do and tell us a lot of interesting things. So
Indeed. Everyone, I think, thinks themselves boring. Like,
oh yeah, for
I know
sure.
I am boring.
I know I'm boring.
Right.
And now look at all these delightful nerds just hanging out listening to us.
Yeah, because yeah. So everyone has something interesting about them. Some people have more interesting aspects than others. But what's nice is when you start hanging out with people, then you learn how those different parts fit with one another, and yeah, it's neat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we could hang with Bex.
Definitely.
They'd want to hang with us, but we'll anyway. Aaron has stepped away, but he'll be right back. We're talking Avatar.
Yay! We're finally in season 3, you guys. Can you believe it? It only took us how long? Too long.
A year.
Was it?
We
when
started watching Avatar last year.
Did we? Okay, so then it was
It
just
hasn't
the
been
end
that
of the
long.
year where we sort of kind of got sidetracked with all the stuff that happens at the end of a year.
October hit.
Yep.
And we dove neck deep into horror.
Yeah.
And have stayed there. Like I wasn't trying to turn this into a horror podcast. I just like horror a lot.
We all do.
Yeah.
If we didn't want to have done that, then I'm sure we would have steered you back the other direction.
Sure, that's true.
Much sooner than.
It's like, how about we, but slower roll on this horror thing? It's like, no, it's more horror. More horror.
More horror all day, every day. But also Avatar.
So the first episode is called Awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Which and we're in book 3 now, so this is book 3, Fire, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when we last left off, Aang had been killed and resuscitated,
Yes.
and everything looked really shitty for our heroes. So that's where we come into.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. The whole gang basically fled the city of Ba Sing Se.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Aang was ostensibly dead.
Yes.
All right. Do you have our handy little IMDb synopsis for this episode?
Oh, I don't. I can get it up.
What? I was counting on you.
I know, and I let you down. Hopefully you can forgive me.
Jeez.
Unlike Cable, I'm always disappointed.
Yeah, no, I know.
This is why I can't joke about mean things, because Aaron immediately is like, "Yep, that's correct. I believe that," and now I feel bad.
Whereas you can be disappointed in me, and I'll go, "Yeah, okay. I will somehow find a way to move on."
Soldier on.
It's like, and yet, I will just find the will to
My
live.
need to make everything happy and calm will always be like, no, you're right. Sorry.
I don't know what to do with that.
I know.
Smile and nod, and move on.
Ooh, a pirate ship bed. Sorry.
What? No.
The Awakening. Weeks after the fall of the Earth Kingdom, Aang and his friends must infiltrate the Fire Nation. Katara meets her father for the first time in years. Zuko returns home, but is uneasy with his newfound reputation. I feel like that buries the lead on a lot of things.
On the first episode?
Yeah.
It's
It is pretty much all of the things that are happening.
Right.
On paper.
Yeah, but that's also like
It should be Zuko is ridden with guilt and is terrified to go back to the Fire Nation because Dad's gonna be pissed. Or he thinks Dad's
right.
gonna
Well,
be
yeah,
pissed.
I mean, like
he has
when
no idea.
when your own father like casts you out of the kingdom,
after permanently scarring you.
yes, yeah, after ruining your face, you're gonna have some complicated feelings about going home again. Even if he had in fact accomplished everything that he had set out to accomplish, he would still be conflicted about going home.
Sure.
It's the trademark of children with abusive parents. Nothing you ever do is going to feel good enough.
Correct.
Did I break the show?
Yeah, no.
Just-
There's a lot of silence.
Just
all of a
dead
sudden.
eye staring into the camera right now. Like, that is correct.
Yep.
But not only that, what we learned throughout this episode is that Zuko has an inkling that even though everyone thinks Aang is dead, it's probably not.
I think Zuko's pretty confident Aang is out there.
Yeah. I mean, we get into that further into the show, but yes, we actually see him having a flashback memory of his time with Katara when they had been in that cave, that like jail cell cave, where she was going to heal his face with her magic healing water, and that didn't happen. So now she knows that he knows that she still has it. And she is the one who swooped in and took Aang's body before it hit the floor when Azula zapped him in the back.
Shot him in the back.
Yep.
Like the coward she is.
Yes.
They're easier to shoot when they can't shoot back.
You defend Azula a lot.
I know, not because I don't actually like her.
Mm.
But if you need a good foil and a good villain to hate on, she's got to keep doing stuff like that.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah, no, she is not the one with a redemption arc in this series.
No.
No, she's. I've talked to my coworkers that have all grown up watching Avatar. And one of them tell me today, I was talking with another coworker about the gorillas and where we were in 2001 and what we were doing. And one of them just quietly pipes in. It's like, I was born in 2001. Okay.
Get out.
You can get out of this conversation.
Get out.
I looked at them. I thought we were friends. Get out. Huh.
But
How-
anyway,
how do you
your
betray me like that?
coworkers.
But yeah, they grew up watching this, and they have. Every time I mention Azula, they're like, "Oh, I love Azula." I'm like, "How?" It's like she's a very complicated character. They do this. I'm like, okay, like she's also the villain of the entire show. It's not Fire Lord Ozai.
Right.
No.
No,
As much-
he's the MacGuffin.
He is the MacGuffin. The real villain of this show is Azula.
Yes. But that doesn't mean she's not complicated or interesting. Like, why is she this way? Why is she such a fucking monster, you know? That's worth being curious and interested in.
We
get a glimpse of what that is in about 3 more episodes.
I always kind of assumed it came from being told, well, from never being told no. Well, don't spoil it for me.
I won't. When episode 5 is called The Beach, when you get there, a lot is explained.
Okay.
And the interpretation of what that is you just sit there and go, oh, okay.
I will add episode 1 and into episode 2. Now I am seeing Zuko's face turn.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I knew it wasn't going to. This is where it's not even telegraphing. It's just like, oh, it's happening. Kind of.
Yeah.
Hope nobody kills his girlfriend.
Mean Girl number 2?
Yeah.
Me. I'm. Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell us. Don't tell us. I'm trying not to project anything.
Aang does look weird with hair.
Yes, he
He
does.
looks like Cable with eyebrows. It's freaky.
or Cable with a head of hair.
Yeah.
No, the eyebrows are the weirder one for me.
I've never seen either, so I got nothing. Just my imagination.
I did.
For Sulu.
Yeah, it was for Sulu. I grew my hair and eyebrows back, and it was a whole year of people going, "No, I've known you too long the other way.
It was unsettling.
No, this doesn't work."
That's how I feel every time I have my head is blonde, but and preemptively for coloring.
Right. Don't let John Byrne see you that way.
Who?
I've been blonde.
When were you blonde?
God, when was the last time I was blonde?
On purpose, though, you're saying.
Yeah.
No, see, I only ever have this, like, I don't know, half-hour window where I'm like, maybe I should stop here into the mirror. I'm like, is this right? Do I like this? Well, they're already mixing up the color, so let's just move on.
I think I first bleached my hair. Oh God, when was this? 94, maybe 93, 94. I thought we were friends.
You did it again.
Oh, come on. How was I not going to bring that back around?
How dare.
That means so is Merrick. Anyway.
That's between you and your God.
Anyway.
What
Back-
can you know?
So Fire Nation, full head of hair. Oh, that was. I'm like, how did we get here? Full head of hair.
Yeah, Aang looks weird with a.
He
with
does
a
look
head of
weird with hair. But everyone's hiding out on the Fire Nation boat. He's been unconscious for weeks.
Mhm.
Hence the full head of hair. I like that we get a glimpse of like that whole thing about like Katara meets her dad again. It's like she's met her dad. She just hasn't seen him.
It
in
was
years.
weirdly phrased. I didn't care for that synopsis because it also says like, oh, they're going to infiltrate the Fire Nation. They're technically already there when the episode starts.
Yeah,
because they
they're
run into another Fire Nation ship.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, because they're nearby the Serpent's Tail. That weird road
Mhm.
Sure.
from season 2, because it has that giant snaky thing. But yeah, like Katara is definitely feeling some things about her dad.
Yeah, she's got some abandonment issues, naturally. Yeah, they manifested in a more angry, why did you leave us kind of a way, as opposed to Sokka's, which was more self-doubty in like, you left me behind on purpose kind of way.
Yeah, and that was fixed pretty quickly, where it's like, oh dude, I left you behind because who else was I going to leave behind to protect everyone else? You were the guy.
And I would argue that Katara's situation also resolved pretty quickly. Like, she's mean to him and like really like standoffish for a couple every scene we see them both in. And then once you're past like the second third of the episode where things are happening, that's when she kind of has like her emotional moment and like says outright, you left us, how could you leave us, and
Which does seem sudden for the viewer, but if we take it from the context of she's been like that for
2 years,
let's say 4 weeks.
Oh,
Right.
weeks,
While
right,
Aang has been
on the ship.
unconscious.
Mhm.
And it's only when Aang goes, why are you mad at your dad? She's like, I'm not mad.
Why would I be mad?
That she goes, that internally it's like, oh, fuck, I'm mad.
And then
I should-
compounded
yeah.
by Aang leaving. So
Yep.
that's the key part of this episode, right? Is Aang is first, he's upset that people think he's dead because he's not just supposed to be like the savior. He's
Yeah.
a symbol, right? Like, he can't really be the Avatar if people think the Avatar is no more.
Right.
Yeah, it's what happens when Superman dies. We're like, who's gonna save us now?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's our hope guy.
Yeah.
If there's a Superman, we can't have hope for ourselves anymore.
Yep.
Which is infantilizing, but okay, I get it. And so then Aang is having a lot of inner turmoil of his own with dealing with. They have this plan that involves everybody taking down the Fire Nation as a team. Aang is upset because he can't be the Avatar. He has to kind of stay in hiding, and that's not what heroes do. And he also already feels like he's failed, and he doesn't want his failure to be the reason everyone else has to put themselves at risk. Forgetting that this whole time everyone has been coming together to be his team.
Right.
And when he takes off thinking, I got to do this myself, that was the tipping point for Katara.
Which is also a common theme in any show that has, or any story that has a
chosen
A
one.
chosen one.
Right.
I gotta face
Like
him
how many
alone.
times have we seen this in Buffy?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
Luke not finishing his training.
Yep.
Right. Which is technically also true. Aang has not actually finished his training because
Nope.
he is not he's not dealing with fire bending, and he bailed on the 17 chakras or
Right.
7.
7.
17. I was like, what?
Fire, water, air, earth.
Steel? If they're following.
No, they
Or
they,
metal?
they don't
no,
follow
no,
that.
I can tell you.
It was like mind, body, and soul, essentially.
They are earth, water, fire, heart. That would be probably the soul one. Light, sound, and then the last one was thought.
Oh, so they're kind of like Captain Planet.
Yes.
If you say so.
Earth, air, fire, water, heart.
Isn't that also the same as Captain Planet?
That is Captain Planet.
Oh, I must have. My brain told me something different when you started that.
Captain Planet, he's a hit. So Aang is Captain Planet in this scenario.
Aang is Captain Planet.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else is important in this episode? Uncle Iroh.
Do we see him in this
Not
episode?
until episode 2.
It's
We're
episode
jumping
2
around.
that we see him.
No, but oh, here we go. It's not just Uncle Iroh. It's that so again, Zuko has a lot of conflict about going home for the first time, and then he's home and he's still being weird about it.
Yep.
And we find out that Azula has been padding his resume. She gave him credit for things that didn't happen.
I like how you phrased that. That was great.
She's totally setting him up. too.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is
Because
not out of the goodness of her heart.
even he is suspicious of like, why are
She
you
doesn't
making
have
me
any.
look good to Dad?
Yeah.
She's not that kind of bitch, right? But she gave him credit for taking down Ba Sing Se, capturing the traitorous Uncle Iroh, and killing the Avatar. Iroh. Thank you. I couldn't remember. I never remember. The Avatar thing, arguably, she does believe that he did. No, she actually kind of like tries to call him out on it, like, oh, unless there's something you're not telling me about the Avatar.
Azula
She kind of already knows he's lying.
Azula has plans within plans.
Yes.
Always. There is one thing that you can count on, and that is Azula will do what is best for Azula.
Yes, she will.
There
She will
is.
double, even triple cross a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Zuko knows this. He knows that she has ulterior motives. I think he calls her out on it, but she passes it off.
She gaslights him.
Yeah.
What?
It's like I would never do such a thing. That's silly.
I'm guessing that as this continues to go, eventually Zuko is going to be like, okay, maybe she is being genuine, and she really is trying to do me these favors, just in time for her to finally pull the rug out from under him, like he up until then had absolutely expected her to do.
And then dance off. Then the rave in the cave.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
the
episode
next
2.
episode. I mean, do we have any other thoughts about this episode?
I think the thing that threw me a little bit was the sudden, what felt like the very sudden relationship between Zuko and May. Like, what?
Yeah, another thing that managed to develop in like, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks is they're an item now. I think if I remember correctly though, we knew that May was interested in him. Like it came up back in the day. Or it was a thing back before Zuko had been banished.
Right.
And it's mentioned when Azula gets her Mean Girl gang together. So it's not really a surprise when they are presented as a couple just a couple weeks after they've sort of all come around together and are heading back to the Fire Nation.
Yep.
Although between episode 1 and episode 2, they seem like they're pretty serious, and I guess that part is a little bit surprising.
I mean, if you consider that they have known each other growing up the entire time.
It's true.
So, yeah, it's no more or less weird than the fact that Ty Lee also seems to have a thing for Sokka. So
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That one hasn't come up in a while.
well, they haven't had scenes together in a while. Like I don't think Sokka has anything for Ty Lee because she's clearly the enemy.
Right.
Um,
But Zuko seems pretty into this relationship, which I'm suddenly reminded that there's an episode in season 2 where he goes on a date with a girl and he's really weird about it. Like he did end up doing some like nice first date things that like could qualify it as a good date, but it ended very weirdly. He was weird the whole time.
yes,
And
because he
now-
was pretending to be someone else.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of that going on with this.
Yes.
But yeah, I think now we can talk about episode 2, The Boy with the Headband, or just the headband.
The headband.
Posing as a regular kid, Aang goes to a Fire Nation school and sees what's missing from their lives. Zuko visits his uncle in prison.
Yeah, he does. But
I'm going to say this. The majority of the episode is Footloose.
yes, yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, we learned that there is no fire dancing. There's no dancing in the Fire Nation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, new kid comes to school, fish out of water, and he teaches them what it's like to be children and have fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's great. Like that's the kind of
And Zuko calls his uncle a coward.
yeah, but
Yep.
that is the kind of undermining authority that needs to happen in the Fire Nation to give any sort of resistance a foothold.
Mhm.
Great. Like it was really cute. It was a cute episode.
It's a cute episode. It feels like a lot of like additional character building
Mhm.
as they're like going full speed to the finale.
And some of the character building is the Fire Nation. They're establishing, like
Yeah.
they're showing us a lot about what it's like in this
The-
country, to include all of their propaganda also.
Which there's a lot of.
Yes,
Yeah.
we see
Like,
that in
oh,
both
look at that.
episodes.
This is the first episode, I think, that's trying to present the Fire Nation as more than just a monolithic bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're instead portraying it as, the United States of America, which it is.
It's the first time we ever meet Fire Nation civilians.
Yep.
Right.
Is what it is.
I've watched ahead. I've watched up to episode 5. You watched up to episode 3, I think.
Mhm.
You're
Just the 2.
You're just these 2. So I will say that the more important storyline in this is definitely Zuko and Iroh. Because we do finally get to see what happened to Iroh,
Right.
Mhm.
and he is clearly rotting away in prison.
Will not speak to Zuko.
I kind of don't blame him.
No, not at all.
Like the thing with Iroh and what we know about Iroh is he is still very much loves Zuko, wants
Good things for him.
him to choose the right path.
Mhm.
He is definitely he's disappointed.
I was to say he's given him that silent. I
Yeah.
am very
And
disappointed.
it's
Yeah.
not about the fact that ostensibly Zuko is the reason he's in prison. It's not about himself.
Mhm.
It's about Zuko going back to those shitty choices.
And I'm sure that there's a point where Iroh says, I tried to get there. I tried to get him there. I don't know what it's going to take,
Mhm.
but I can't give up on him. At no point do I feel like Iroh's given up on Zuko.
No. But he can't. He's not ready to process it yet.
No,
And he
Or-
also doesn't think Zuko's ready.
no. And Zuko's not.
He's
No.
not. I just had a mental image of what could happen that would be finally the final, nail in the coffin for Zuko being a bad kid. But I'm not going to say it because I don't want to. Well, and we don't really have time today, so.
I will say that the next episode, the Painted Lady, is much in the same line as the Headband, where it's a fun episode, it's a cute episode. I don't feel like it does a lot to further the major plot. It is more character development, which is fine.
Yeah,
that's
it's a
good.
little bit of a bottle
Um,
episode. It technically could have happened in any area of the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to have been a Fire Nation.
Quite honestly, so is episode 4 and episode 5, but they are fundamentally important for character development. The Painted Lady focuses on Katara. Sokka's master
Mhm.
focuses on Sokka. so far, that might be my favorite episode.
But you keep mentioning it, so I'm
Sokka
looking forward
is-
to this one.
I don't think I expected to like Sokka as much as I do.
He is he's a little bit of a dark horse. He totally comes off as like the kind of dummy the comic relief.
Yeah,
But he is actually really smart.
he's not. Yeah, he's not actually comic relief of the show. He's funny.
He's their Xander.
He is.
Yeah.
He's very much their Xander. After Sokka's master, that statement right there, you're gonna go, oh, okay.
Is he getting an eye stabbed out?
No, he doesn't
Oh.
get a knife stabbed out, but it is very Sokka focused.
Okay, cool.
And then the beach actually focuses on the Fire Nation kids
The main girls?
and Zuko, Azula, Ty Lee, and May. It answers questions, and I'm still uncomfortable with the question that it answers about Azula.
Ooh, oh boy. I am excited for these next few
Yeah.
episodes. You are really selling them.
So I'm clearly enjoying this season more than I have the previous season. Season 1 just wasn't my jam.
That's the baby show for babies, and you're still sort of like, what is this? Like, why is it like magical Asian world? You know, it's
I still wonder that
but you're a little bit used
does
to it
not
now,
cease to
right?
come up. I think I still bring it up because I think it's still a valid criticism of doing any work where you are not part, where you are clearly using inspiration from a culture that is not yours. If you are a bunch of white folk making a television show that is based on Asian cultures, I am going to give you the side eye.
You know what would make
Yeah.
the show better?
Copyright Sean Wynn.
If Scarlett Johansson did all the voices. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's a good place to end it.
Yeah, that is.
Next week, we're going to have on Keith Baker and Jen Ellis of. Why am I going blank?
Together Studios.
I was going to say Tomorrows, which is a publishing
Mm.
company.
Yes, no.
So yeah, we're going to come in, talk about what they've been working on, and talk about the second edition of Element,
Yeah.
which will be really cool.
It will be in stores, I think, starting February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Fantastic.
The perfect Valentine's Day gift
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
for the
And-
gamer in your life.
It will. It's also not only Illimat, but it 2 expansions. One is a reprint of the Crane Wife, and then a brand new expansion for it.
Ooh. Nice. Well, that'll be all next week.
Yes.
With that, I'm Aaron Duran.
I'm Binarita.
And I'm Cable Hashitani.
We will talk to everybody next week. Bye. Ha, 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 ha.